Hello, Sprinkles. It's getting close to Valentine's Day, so I thought we should dip some strawberries in chocolate. I washed my strawberries earlier. I just rinsed them in cold water, and they've been sitting to air dry for a while. I have a nice, clean, soft dish towel, and I just want to blot those and really make sure they're dry. You really don't want any water to get into your chocolate. They have been sitting out for several hours, so they're room temperature, and they are mostly dry. Okay. Now that they're all off the tray, you can see that after rinsing them, I had simply put them on another dish towel, and that absorbed a lot of the moisture out of them. Just gonna dry that off. So we'll be using Eileen's almond bark. And then I cut out a whole bunch of little red hearts out of fondant. All of this was done about 4 hours ago. All right, so the strawberries have been out of the refrigerator for 4 hours. The fondant has had 4 hours to set. And then I have more almond bark in 2 piping bags that I'll use for drizzling. This is my favorite bowl for melting in. I'm going to move you over this way a little. So these come in these huge blocks like this, and obviously you need to break that apart. And I just do that on the edge of my counter. And now I'm going to put this in the microwave for 30 seconds. After 30 seconds, I'm going to stir it, and then I'll put it in for another 30 seconds, and I'll stir it again, and then I'll probably have to do it another 30 seconds. In the meantime, you can see that I have 2 cookie sheets here. And then I have these little frozen packs that you put like in your lunch bag. I'm going to put them in the bottom and that one on top. This will cool the tray and help your chocolate set up faster. So this is what it looks like after the second 30-second interval. Quite melty, but still some big chunks, so it's going to go back in the microwave for another 30 seconds. All right, and I also want you to notice that I put one of my Silpats onto that tray. You could just use wax paper or parchment paper, whichever you prefer. Okay, so I did put it in for another 30 seconds, and now it's all nice and melty. Just want to make sure there's no big clumps in there. All right, so to dip your strawberries, take your strawberry and grab it by the hair, like so, and go ahead and dip it in. It's up to you how far you want to dip it. Let as much as possible drizzle off, and then you place it on your tray. Now, because we put those cold packs underneath, that chocolate is going to start to set really nice and quick, reducing the size of the puddle underneath. If you're getting huge puddles underneath your strawberries, then you're not letting enough drip off. Ooh, here's a big one. I love big strawberries. So there's really no fancy trick to it or anything. The biggest, most important thing is to make sure your strawberries are totally dry. Okay, if there's any water on them, a couple things will happen. Either, well, it'll get into your chocolate and cause it to clump up, which is called seizing. And also it just won't stick to your strawberry well. And the secret to not having huge puddles underneath is to make sure you let all the excess drizzle off, and then putting those cold packs between the trays helps that chocolate to set up. All right, so I'm just gonna keep on dipping these. I'm just going to turn that tray around so you can see them a little better. So you can see how this one is less shiny than that one. That's because that has started to set up already. I will see if I can continue to lay them this way so that you can see better. So the strawberry right here isn't great on top. It's too soft and mushy, but I dipped it anyway because there's a whole lot of good strawberry there that I'll just eat myself. So I can do 2 at a time when they're the smaller size, but when they're larger, I feel like I need to pay attention to it better and just do 1 at a time. Plus the larger ones often don't fit in the bowl 2 at a time. As my chocolate level gets lower, I need to tilt the bowl to get good coverage on the strawberries. Alrighty, I'm pretty much out of room on this tray, so I need to switch trays. I'll be right back. Alright, we're back with a fresh tray. If you've watched any of my other videos, you know that the other chocolates that I like to use are Ghirardelli melting wafers, or the, shoot, I can't think of the name now. Oh, Merkin's melting wafers. I like those because they've already been tempered and they are meant for melting, whereas chips and morsels are not meant for melting. Those are meant to hold their shape, so they just don't melt as nice. Alrighty, next thing I need to do is, this is from earlier today, so it's hard. So we need to melt that. I'm going to do it the same way I did the chocolate in the bowl. I'm going to put it in for 30 seconds. I'm going to squish it around and then do another 30 seconds. So this is the first tray we worked on. So all those strawberries are set and can be handled and moved. And so I'm going to turn them all around and get them facing the same way, because they'll make drizzling it that much easier. These with the really big leaves, the really big hair on top, I'm trying to put up to the top so they don't get in the way of my other strawberries. Want to make sure you have some space between them. All right, let me check on that. Part of it was soft, part of it wasn't. So I squished it a little and I flipped it over and put it in for another 30 seconds. And I have all my fondant hearts here ready to go in. All right. I always do a test squeeze to make sure it's going to drizzle out nicely for me. Okay. Usually takes me a couple to get them perfect. And I'll do 2 and then pause to put the heart because you need to stick that heart to the white while it is wet. That was extremely hard to say for some reason. The other way you can do this is just drizzle back and forth. Oh, shoot. Okay, so where I got that glob, that's right where my heart is going to go. So I ran out of white, so I'm switching to a dark chocolate. And since we dipped these in milk chocolate, this chocolate will be a different color and you'll be able to see it. So there we are so far. And I'm going to melt the red to do the rest of them. But just by switching up the colors that you use, either for dipping in or for drizzling, and using different sprinkles or fondant embellishments, chocolate covered strawberries are for all occasions, not just Valentine's Day. Alrighty, there we go. So, I'm gonna get a nice bowl and show you how I would present these to my family. I love a nice glass or crystal bowl. Did you know if you go to Goodwill or Salvation Army or something like that, you can usually pick these up for anywhere from 50 cents to $2. And they're just gorgeous. And these have all set up. So I'm just going to go ahead and lay them in there. That's that ookie one. So you can see when I pick them up, it's just on there. You know, all the side drizzle stays on the tray. And actually going beyond your strawberry on either side is what gives you a nice drizzle. You get lots of different sizes in the bowl. Because like I said earlier, I like the really big ones. My husband prefers a small one, so it's just one bite. But there you go. A beautiful bowl of chocolate covered strawberries. A great treat for Valentine's Day or any night, really, or any day. I made them for New Year's Eve and we ate them while we were playing board games. And they're just yummy and delicious, and they're good for you, right? Because they're strawberries. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little video. If you would like to see more, be sure to subscribe to my newsletter. The link is below. And you can also follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Laura's Baking Delights. Bye.